Welcome to Spotlight on Adult Services, the newsletter for the Adult Services Department at the Cromaine District Library in Hartland, Michigan. It's January, again, and I'm here to tell you all about the wonderful month of programming Cromaine has planned to start the new year off right. Registration for all of these programs will open at 9 a.m. on Thursday, December 28th. Log on to our online event calendar linked below or give the library a call at 810-632-5200 to register. Let's start January off with some special announcements, and we've got a few of them coming up. Sadly, Cromaine will be starting off 2024 with a closure. We'll be closed on January 1st to celebrate the beginning of a new year and possibly recover from the end of 2023. But don't worry, we'll reopen on the 2nd for our normal operating hours and we'll be ready to get after it. Cromaine will also be accepting submissions for our Cromaine Creators newsletter to be released in early March. You can visit the linked document below to see submission requirements and submit your creative masterpiece using the form linked below. If you can't open or submit the form, feel free to email Youth Services Librarian Heather at hdraft, that's HDRAFT, at cromaine.org. We'd love to feature our creative patrons, so definitely don't hesitate to submit your opus for inclusion. Are you a board gamer or jigsaw puzzler who wants to pass on the joy of one of the puzzles or games you've grown out of onto a new owner? Cromaine will be accepting donations for our upcoming jigsaw and board game swap from Tuesday, January 2nd through Friday, January 5th, and we'd love to pass your treasured puzzles and games on to another patron. We just ask that the games and puzzles be gently used and have all of the pieces. Basically, just make sure it's something you wouldn't be embarrassed to give to a friend or receive as a gift yourself. Speaking of the board game and puzzle swap, that will be held on Saturday, January 6th at noon. Come and see all of the cool games and puzzles other patrons have donated and maybe find a new one to put together or play yourself. This is the first time we'll be doing this at Cromaine, but if our craft supply swap is any indication, this is going to be a fun hit for everyone. Then on Saturday, January 20th at noon, Cromaine will be celebrating the midway point of our Winter Reading Challenge with an all-ages cozy higgy party. Higgy? Higge? Yeah? I don't really know how to say that word. It's a Swedish word. It's a cozy party full of relaxing crafts and activities that'll have you snuggled up at Cromaine. You can make a sock gnome or a beeswax candle, and we might even have visiting royalty from Scandinavia here. Hint, it's Elsa. So definitely come and enjoy some refreshments and relaxing crafts to get you motivated to make it through your winter reading goals. To close out the cold, dark month of January, join us at the Music Hall on Saturday, January 27th at 2 o'clock p.m. for the first installment of the Beat the Winter Blues series. We'll be hosting the Funny Dumplings, whose show mixes comedy and music in a performance that the entire family will enjoy. Registration is requested but not required, so come to the Music Hall at 2 p.m. if you can make it for an enjoyable afternoon of music and jokes. We would love to see your bright, shiny face around the library, so Cromaine also has a full slate of in-person programs scheduled this January. We'll start with personalized tech tutoring via Rachel when she hosts Tech Time at 2 o'clock p.m. on the 2nd. Start the year off strong by tackling all of those resolutions to get more tech-savvy and learn how to use your device more safely and effectively. Rachel can't remove viruses or fix any broken hardware, but she's a whiz who can certainly help you with a lot of common tech problems, so definitely sign up for one of her 30-minute one-on-one coaching sessions. Then on January 5th at 1 o'clock p.m., join Erin and the group for Recipe Club and Potluck for some food and conversation. Bring a shareable-sized portion of one of your favorite recipes and some copies of the recipe to share with the group. Everyone else will do the same. You'll leave Cromaine with a full heart and a full belly after all of the delicious food and scintillating conversation, ready to take on the bleakness out in Midwest January landscape. We'll have a new recurring program for all of our crafty patrons starting in January. Join us for Arts and Chats on Monday, January 8th at 6 o'clock p.m. and again on Monday, January 22nd. Arts and Chats is a unique program. In the first meeting every month, one of our librarians will teach a specific craft. In January, for instance, Erin will be showing you how to make a fleece tie lap blanket. The second meeting will be more of a crafting free play where we all just get together to work on our individual crafts together. An informal craftathon, if you will. It's sure to be a lot of fun, so come and join us on the 8th and the 22nd at 6 o'clock p.m. Debbie will be at Cromaine to host 3 sessions of yoga to keep our cold, tired muscles warm and ready to go. She'll be joining us at 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday, January 9th and Tuesday, January 16th. She'll also be here in the morning on Thursday, January 18th at 10 a.m. These sessions always fill up quickly, so definitely register early if you'd like to join in the fun. Ale Together Now will be starting the new year off by coming out to Cromaine on Wednesday, January 10th at 6:30 p.m. This is pretty early in the month for Ale Together Now, but is it ever too early to learn more about America's favorite beverage? I think not. So come to Ale Together Now for a fun program where you learn about beer and even snag some free samples to enjoy. As long as you're 21, of course. The Hartland Home and Garden Club will be hosting Janet Mikunovich at Cromaine for a discussion about great plant combinations. It's never too early to dream about your garden, which might seem far away in January, but the spring will definitely get here quickly. Believe me. This program will have suggestions for trees, shrubs, and perennials that look great together and will grow well in the same conditions. This is an open talk with no registration required, so feel free to come and get ideas for your garden at this talk on January 23rd at 6:30 p.m. If you haven't already had enough crafting for this month with Cromaine's 2 sessions of arts and chats, join Aaron on Thursday, January 25th at 1 p.m. to learn how to make this DIY embroidery hoop snowman. This little guy is absolutely adorable, and who knows, maybe he'll even help us ward off the worst of the white stuff this season, if it isn't already too late by then. Cromaine will have one video program in January. We'll be sending out the next installment of MMAP's Medicare series. This video will cover Medicare fraud and abuse, how to protect yourself from it, and how to report fraud if you fall victim to it. So definitely sign up to receive this link in your email inbox. Cromaine's 3 book clubs will all be meeting in January. Start your New Year's reading resolution off strong by reading one of these selections and dropping into one of our book club meetings to make some new book buddies. You don't have to register, just read any of the titles that appeal to you and drop in to meet some nice new friends. The Mystery Book Club will get us started on Tuesday, January 9th, when they meet to discuss Danielle Trussoni's The Puzzle Master. Mike Brink suffers a traumatic brain injury that ends his football career, but all is not lost. His traumatic injury also causes him to develop a rare medical condition, acquired savant syndrome. This leads him to become a master of creating and solving puzzles. Jess Price was convicted of murder 5 years ago and has refused to speak a word since, but she has drawn a perplexing puzzle that her psychologist is convinced is the key to explaining her crime. Will Brink be able to solve this puzzle before a world-altering puzzle snaps closed? Find out at the Mystery Book Club in January. The Nonfiction Book Club will be taking a break from our normally dour reading and going with something lighthearted and fun when we read Mary Roach's Fuzz, When Nature Breaks the Law, and discuss it on Thursday, January 11th at 6:30 p.m. Mary Roach takes on the serious issue of human-wildlife conflict in the humorous way only she can. Roach shadows interesting people with job titles that seem too preposterous to be real. Human-elephant conflict specialists? Bear managers? And gets to the heart of serious issues like what we can do about jaywalking moose. Can a bear be charged with breaking and entering? If a tree kills you in the forest and no one is there to hear it, is it still murder? Join the Nonfiction Book Club at 6:30 p.m. on January 11th to discuss these most pressing questions facing all of humanity and the wildlife kingdom. The Fiction Book Club will close out the month of book club programs when they meet on Thursday, January 25th at 6:30 p.m. They'll be discussing The Spectacular by Fiona Davis. Marion Brooks is a 19-year-old who can see her whole life laid out before her in 1956 New York City. Her high school sweetheart will propose and she'll be whisked off to some suburb to raise a family. Or will she? Marion seizes the opportunity to audition to become one of the famed Rockettes, bucking the predictable future laid out for her in exchange for the glitzy lights of Radio City Music Hall. Unfortunately, the Big Apple Bomber has been terrorizing the city for well over a decade, and he might have something to say about those plans. Luckily, Peter Griggs, a young doctor pioneering psychological profiling, is on the case, and with Marion's help, they might be able to get the bomber off the streets. Read The Spectacular and see for yourself. Well, that's everything Cromaine has planned for January. We'll get you started off right with these programs and so much more at Cromaine. Registration for all of these programs opens on Thursday, January 28th at 9 a.m., so give us a call at 810-632-5200 or log on to our online event calendar linked below to register for anything that calls to you. Until next time, Happy New Year, Hartland.